Hello, guys. We are live. The secret to make them respect you with Arica Angelo. Been in this relationship game for 14 years. And I just said that like a rapper. I don't know why. I felt like a rapper. But with that being said, I don't even know why I'm saying this, but rest in peace to our boy Coolio. I just saw online that Coolio passed away. I mean, that song was amazing. Gangster's Paradise. Good stuff. So, if you are new here, this is where we talk about dating. Hey, Maria with T and Telly. I'm glad you're here. I'm so glad that we're talking about this topic about respect because Ninja Wolf, what's happening? Because we ran a poll on my YouTube community. Thank you guys to those of you who were part of it. And we were asking you like what is it like that you struggle with? Like is it people pleasing? Is it I'm looking for something on my phone for you guys because I want to share it with you. Is it people pleasing? Are you the peacemaker? What is it that is your struggle? And everyone said it was regarding respect. That respect was the thing that what they really struggled with was respect. And so I know, right? That's so sad about Coolio, man. Tell me in the comment section, do you feel like people don't respect you? Yo Williams is here. What's up, my man? I don't know why they always hide your comments, Yo Williams. I have to always manually approve them. It's so bizarre. I can't find this thing that I'm trying to show you. So a lot of people said that they really struggle with respect. And okay, thank you. Matt's like, no, people don't respect me. And like, what are the signs? I'm just curious from you guys. What do you think are the signs that someone doesn't respect you? What is the sign? Like one thing that I know when you're a single person, a sign that someone doesn't respect you is when they don't get back to you, right? Like you message them, you go, hey, let's go grab a coffee, or how are you doing? And they just do not reply to your messages. That's a sign that they don't respect you. But what's another sign? I'm curious from you guys, like, how do you know that someone is just totally not respecting you? Rico says, people respect me, but sometimes it goes away because I can be too nice. Ah, that's very interesting. So they respect you at the beginning, but in the end, they don't respect you because I'm curious about that. Tell me more. Tell me more. Also, really quick, I just want to share with you guys as we go into this. If you don't know, I just released my new boundaries course. Can't show you all my pictures in there because then you would know. But how exciting is this, you guys? How exciting. It's 5 video trainings teaching you guys how to have boundaries so that people will respect you. So if you really struggle with being disrespected, you've got to get this boundaries course. And when you get it, you're going to get an offer to get a discount on my also brand new boundaries Bible. It's like full on with scripts on what you say to stand up for yourself, what to say when someone's disrespected you. It is absolutely bright. And also it gives over 100 feeling words because a lot of times when you're standing up for yourself or, someone's not respecting you, most of the time people need to know how it impacts us. And most people don't know how to articulate themselves, what to say. And so in that, we created over 100 feeling words so that you are equipped to say, hey, this makes me feel boom with that. So I want to read your examples. Maria also, Matt says, well, Ninja Wolf says, people who are two-faced don't respect you too much. Interesting. Okay. Matt C says, ignoring you in a group. Ooh, that's harsh, man. Claiming your ideas as theirs. That is disrespectful. This is really good. Thank you for sharing this. Thinking they can talk to you as they want, not taking you seriously. This is really good. Thank you for sharing, Matt. Maria says they confuse my kindness for weakness. They totally take advantage of my friendship. That's harsh. That's really hard. That's really hard when this happens in friendships, when people just don't respect, they don't value what they offer. 9 out of 10 times, Maria, it's somewhere where you're breaking your own boundaries. And we're gonna get into this, but I can promise you, I think of, you know, I think of some of the friendships that I've had to let go. And as much as I would like to look at those people and say, they're assholes, um, the reality is that there was a history of me breaking my own boundaries. This is why this course is so important. It's actually in making this course, it's quite funny because I've even stepped on my own toes when I was making it. I was like, ooh, I got to get better in this area with my boundaries. So definitely, even someone who I feel like I've been pretty good with boundaries, this course even stepped on my toes. But Maria, I'd be curious if you thought about your friendships the ones that took advantage of your friendship. I wonder how many times in those friendships did you not honor yourself and honoring your boundaries? Rico says, for example, I'll start off being really nice and sweet to a woman because that's naturally me, not a facade. But then after a while, I can tell she gets turned off. And we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about the secret to making them respect you. And it's going to answer this specifically for you, Rico. Thank you, Ninja Wolf. Ninja Wolf always notices my nails, and it means so much to me. Ninja Wolf says, "Nice chocolate nails." Anyway, Erica, thank you. I one of the ways that I self care and like spend time with myself because touch is my love language. I like to do my own nails. Like it makes me. My mom said when I was a little girl, I did my own nails. There's something about painting them and spending time with myself. I just love it. Jim, I've never seen you here, Jim. Thank you for being here. Jim says they don't reciprocate the way you treat them. Oh, mic drop on this one. Yes, I agree. Disrespectful people, they don't. Absolutely. You put a lot of effort and time and resources for them, but they don't do the same. When you confront them, they just give you excuses. Well done, Jim. Hey, at least you're confronting them. That's good. Matt says, out in the pub with friends who just slam you and rip you in a group, best buddies 1-to-1. Oh, hell no. That is not acceptable. So, what is the secret to getting people to respect you? Like, obviously, I'm not going to shock you guys. Obviously, I'm promoting my boundaries course. And when I say it's boundaries, that is part of it. But I want to give you a specific example of what the actual secret is. I mean, the answer is boundaries. But the secret is this, and especially for people like Maria in your situation, and for just want to come back to it was Rico. So people will disrespect you when they feel like you go along with everything. And this can be anything in life, like a person who doesn't value their time, they don't value their thoughts in a conversation. So let's like play this out when people start disrespecting you because you just go for everything, meaning you have no boundaries. And this is what this looks like. Let's say, for example, you're in a group and let's say they are talking about this is going to be a hard topic, but let's talk about like politics right now because like it's been pretty divisive in America for years now over politics, right? So everyone, let's say I was in a scenario one night, it was over Thanksgiving, and I was in Bali, and I was out to Thanksgiving dinner with some people and they were discussing politics and they were like, well, we obviously all agree here. And I'm like, you assumed wrong. I don't agree with your view on politics." And they were like, "What? I thought you were like one of us." And it's like, I don't agree with you, the values. I don't agree with where you're coming from. Like, and in those moments, it's like when you get a part of these conversations, you just go along with it. And I find that too many people who are nice people, kiss asses, people who just go along with everything. And they're like, "Oh, I just don't want to be divisive." You don't have to be divisive. Like, I'm a bit aggressive, so I'm gonna be like, "Well, actually," but you don't even have to go there. It's just saying like, I hear you guys. I don't personally like talking about politics, but I don't agree, and I'm not going to go into it, but I don't agree with what you guys are talking about. And that's like in conversations, right? Where they're intense, or people are talking about like, or they're slamming someone, like in Matt's situation where he says that he goes to bars with his friends and they start ripping into him. Like, obviously, everyone who goes along with that, like, you're not gonna respect them. But if one person in that group were to stand out and say, "I'm not going for this. This isn't cool. Why are we talking shit about our guy? Like, this is ridiculous." That would be the alpha of the group. That would be the person that people actually respect, right? Let's talk about, with friends, and then we'll go into, like, relationships and stuff like that. With friends, it's like, "Oh, well, let's all do this." And you just always, you don't ever stand your ground. You just go, "Okay, yeah, let's do it." Like, whatever you guys want to do. Are you one of those people where you're like, whatever you guys want to do? You think that you're just being easy, but what you're actually doing is showing people that you have no boundaries. You have no sense of value for yourself. And so everybody else's wants and desires are the priority. The problem is subconsciously, even if they don't directly realize that they don't respect you, subconsciously, they're not going to respect you. And you're going to see that in their actions. And so here's the thing, some of the people who are disrespecting you in your life, it's not because they are always consciously doing it. Sometimes it's a subconscious thing, it's an energetic thing because they can feel you don't value yourself anyway. So you're too available for everything. Why you think like when people give like dating advice, and I've done videos on this about like pulling away, and when you stop, then they'll start pulling more. Why? Because we associate value with the sense of removal. It's like, "Oh, I can't have access to this." Think about, like, let's talk about fashion because I love fashion. Let's talk about the fashion industry, or Yeezys, or Hermes bags. It's like not everybody can have them. And so since everyone can't have them because they're so expensive, then all of a sudden we perceive them as even more valuable, right? And so it's the same thing with you. When you make yourself overly available to everyone, to their ideas, to their wants, to their wishes, to their time, to the demands that they put on your life, when you are overly available to them, subconsciously they don't respect you. And then listen, some people are just assholes and they're just going to directly disrespect you, and that's neither one is fun. Neither one make you feel good about yourself, right? But it's the same thing like what Rico is saying. He's like, at first women respect him, but then they start getting turned off. Why? Rico, I can promise you, you're giving them way too much. You're overly available. You're not showing that you have any value, that there's any real demand for your time, that you're easily accessible. It's like me as a coach. Can you imagine if I just said, "Hey you guys, here's my personal cell phone number. Anytime you have any dating problems or relationship problems or boundary issues, here's my personal cell phone. Just call me anytime." That would be great, right? Because you'd be like, "Yeah, this is great, like free advice all the time, and I can just fix my life, and Erica's just always going to be waiting for me to call." But then when I go, "Hey, I'm going to do a live video on YouTube," how excited would you be for that YouTube live? You 10 out of 10 times, you're not going to come. Why? Because you just had access to me and you can call me whenever you want. So why would you come to a YouTube live? You get what I'm saying, you guys? Like when people feel like you're always overly available, they're not going to respect you. And what is it that makes you overly available? Horrible boundaries, terrible boundaries. Think about it in your life. Like Maria, I just want to, I'm going to talk to you. I feel like Maria knows that I love her, so I can challenge her on this. It's like, Maria, in those friendships, it's like, where in those friendships did you start being overly available and meeting all of their needs, but them not reciprocating and showing up for your needs? So when we become too nice, when we become overly available, it also indicates that like we don't have a demand, we don't have needs. And so if people feel like there's not a need there, they're also not going to show up. Jataro says, thank you, Rico. Rico says this makes a lot of sense. It's really nice to get feedback from you guys, because whenever I'm talking, it's like, it's stuff that makes sense to me, obviously, because I teach this stuff. But when you guys tell me in the chat, like, this makes sense, or if it doesn't make sense, you're like, can you explain this a little more? Or I'm not resonating, I'm not understanding. That really helps me explain it so that you guys really understand this, so you can take this information and really transform your life with it, right? So Jataro says, you can't trust friends sometimes. They are friendly towards you, but they talk bad about you when you are not there. So perfect example, right? That's a sign of disrespect. So here's the thing. When you find out that these people are talking about you, what do you do in those moments? I thank you. CTC says, thought I'd show up fashionably late. Good afternoon, Erica. I'm so glad you're here, CTC. In that scenario, um, when you don't call them out on that, and someone brings it to your attention, hey, these people are talking about you. When you don't call that out, guess what? You're violating your boundaries, because here's the thing. They're talking shit. And then when you show up at the same event and you continue to play nice and you don't call them out on that, guess what? They go, no sense of value. We know that someone told them, and they still keep coming around, and they don't call us out on it. They don't value themselves. And so then they disrespect you even more. I had a situation, I'm like, all these stories are coming up from Bali, but I was in Bali and I was at this surfing competition. I was not surfing. I do not surf, nor will I surf. So I'm at this surfing competition, and everyone's sitting at this like bar that's overlooking the ocean, so you can watch the surfers surf. Really cool event. And everyone's drinking and having fun. And I was being funny, and I went up to a group of these girls, and I was just like, being very rambunctious. I was in a great mood. And I'm cutting up with them and laughing with them, and they're laughing. They're like, who are you? Where'd you come from? That kind of thing. Like, who's this wild girl who just doesn't care what people think? So we're joking around, and I end up leaving their table and going back to my table with my friends. And a friend at the time saw the how we were all like hanging out. And she said to me, she said, as soon as you left, they started talking shit about you. And I said, excuse me? She said, yeah, when you left, they started making fun of you. And I said, really? What do you think I did? Even though they weren't my friends, they were pretending to be my friends, or based on her story. So what did I do? I walked my little happy ass over to their table and I said, hey, girlfriends, I just heard from someone at my table that as soon as I left, you guys were talking shit about me. What is that about? And they were like, what? And they're like, "Oh, what do you mean? What do you mean?" And I said, "Well, she said that as soon as I left, you guys were making snarky faces. You guys were making fun of me. You were laughing." And they swore up and down that they didn't. Now, to this day, who was telling the truth? I don't know. Doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. Those girls ended up becoming my friends. They're still my friends to this day. But guess what? Both parties knew, and the same girl, I ended up confronting her on some stuff later on. At the end of the day, does it matter who was doing what? Not really, because what mattered was is that I stood true to myself and I didn't make myself available for their bullshit. So I'm like, I'm gonna set a precedence that if you talk shit or if you violate my boundaries, I'm gonna come for you. I'm gonna come for you. I'm gonna come knocking on your door. I'm coming for you. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And so that sets a precedent. But if you make yourself available for people's bullshit when they're talking about you and they're doing these things, and then you start teaching people, hey, you can disrespect me and I'm just going to turn a blind eye to it. And they're never going to respect you. And these girls to this day, yeah, you're right, Rico. You got their respect. And they still do to this day. They respect me. I'm not here to go around busting everyone's balls. But if it's a situation where I feel violated, I'm coming for you. Point blank. It's very simple. You violate me, I come for you. And it's the same thing. Like, if I violated someone, I expect them to be like, "Alo, girl, not cool what you did. All right, let's have a conversation about it." Because I have to have enough boundaries to respect them, to be willing to have that conversation with them and be like, "Hey, you screwed up here, Erica. Oh, tell me about it. Tell me, did I hurt your feelings? Tell me what I did. All right, let's have that conversation." But when you stay available for people's bullshit, this is your sign of having low boundaries. And the thing is like, this doesn't go away, you guys. It doesn't just disappear. It's not like, and I think this is the challenge. People who have challenges with boundaries, this is a thing, is that, and here, this is, I got to get it out. I got to get out. People who struggle with boundaries always think that the problem is just going to go away. You don't think you want it to go away because you don't feel equipped. You don't feel confident to stand up for yourself, which is why I made this boundaries course, which is why you've got to do this training. Because most of the time, people with low boundaries just go, I just want the problem to stop. And that's not how we grow. We don't grow through life running away from adversity. Say that with me. I do not, say it, I do not grow in life by running from adversity. Hell no. You have to walk through that shit. You have to address it. And the challenge is when you live life running away from adversity, running away from these situations where you're being disrespected because you don't have the tools, you haven't done this boundary training, and so you just keep running from it. You think it's going to go away. And so let's say you invest all your time and you make new friends. The problems are going to show up with your new friends as well, because the problem is not the people, it's the fact that you keep violating you. And you want the world, you have this entitled mentality that the world is going to treat you differently than what you're treating yourself. It doesn't work that way. Listen, when we're not getting what we want in life, we got to sit inside and go, what's going on in here that is creating this out here? Because we're creators. I'm a big believer, um, in the Bible, it's like, that we were created in the image of God. What was God? He was a creator. And it said, I placed you on this earth to have dominion. But most of us are just waiting for someone, you know, the same people, which I don't understand, who will go to the same church and hear that, will then wait for God to do everything. It's like, no, no, no. What part of your creator and you have dominion on this earth did you not understand? Go out and create and go out and have dominion. And when you're having people show up in your life and they're disrespecting you, they're violating your boundaries, go out and have some dominion. Use your voice, execute on your boundaries. But don't sit there and play victim and hope and wish that these people are going to change. No, they're never going to change, but you get to change. And as you change, you become more proud of yourself. You don't have to hide and be afraid of every shadow that goes across your path, that you can show up in the mirror and you can look at yourself and be like, I did that. That person violated my boundary. They disrespected me and I showed up and I handled it. I did that. Okay, they don't need to know that I was terrified on the inside and I was shaking in my boots, but I did that. You guys, since you like my stories, I'm going to tell you a really funny story. I guess, I don't know, like I think I've always been a bit like strong, but then like where I struggle with boundaries is like in my personal life with people that really matter to me. But like to strangers, I'm like, oh, hell no. I'll never forget. This is quite a funny story. So I'm just going to kind of bring a moment of relief because I know what I said to some of you guys, it was really strong. And for those of you who struggle with this, you're like, make me laugh, Arica, make me laugh. I need a breather. So I think I was in grade school and, like around, I guess it's like homecoming time, right? And if you're in a relationship, the boy will buy you a huge, this is what we do in America, homecoming football game. They will buy you this massive mum and you wear this mum that your boyfriend gave to you. And so I was dating this guy, super good looking. Like this is where like talk about nice guys going wrong. Super good looking guy. Was crazy generous, bought me a massive mom. Like he'd only been my boyfriend for like, I don't know, 3 days, like not long enough to buy me a mum. It's MUM. It's this big like flower thing that you wear on your chest, and it has lots of ribbons going down and like little tassels and all that sort of thing. And girls wear these in high school to their football game. And they wear it all day at school, and it's like a proud thing that people do. It's now that I look back at it, it's terribly cheesy. And I'm like, why did we do that? It destroys your clothes. Like, why would you do that? Anyways, this is grade school. So he buys me this massive mum, which he should not have done because we just had been dating for a very short time. And this guy was like crazy nice guy where it was like, you're so hot, but because you're just like, you're way too available and you have no boundaries and no backbone, it's grossing me out. So, I had to tell him like, hey, I'm not connecting with this at all. So I had to just say, I'm not doing this. So here goes my little feisty side. So there was this girl who apparently had a big crush on him. And she was pissed because him and I were dating. And then she was more pissed because he bought me this mom. And then I shortly after broke up with him. And they made it about she broke up with him because she just wanted the mom. And I'm like, how stupid are you? And you are deflecting on me. You wanted that mom and you wanted him. Don't put your shit on me, girl. So anyways, these girls were talking trash behind my back, and it got around to me. These girls are talking about you. I think they said one of them said that they're going to beat you up because you use this guy. And I was like, oh, really? Mind you, I'm in grade school. I'm like this big. I was not a tall girl. I'm still not tall, but I was a small girl. And I was like, they said, what? And it was after school, and I ran and I found those girls, and there were 3 of them, and we were right outside of a classroom. And I said, now I was like a little bit like gangster back in those days. So I was like, I hear you talking, blah, blah, blah. And I went, the finger went off, the finger in your face. And I was like, and at the end I go, listen, I'm not afraid of you, or you. So blah, 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 blah. And they were like, is this girl crazy? Like one of the girls, she had to like tower me. Like she was massive. But something in my head was just like, absolutely not. You're not going to go around threatening me behind my back. If you're going to do that, you better have the balls to do it in my face. And so there's that funny side. Like, that's funny, right? Like, I'm not encouraging you guys to go off and do that to people, but I think there was something inside of me that knew that how important it was to stay true to myself, and not to live in terror of people. And so I realize that as we get older, we start living in a different type of terror. It's not a physical, but we start living in a terror of emotionally, of speaking up for how we feel about things, speaking up for our desires. Hey, I would like to have more of this. It's like when you're in a relationship, like for, I remember, I'll tell you another story because people learn through stories, right? I had this girlfriend, and she had a boyfriend who was, working all the time. And so we had planned this big dinner, a group of us, and she worked her butt off to cook and make this meal for all of us. And then when it was time for us to sit down, the guy said, he goes, I can't, I got to finish working. And she was like, oh, it's okay. I'll bring you a plate to your office. And I looked at her and I said, are you out of your damn mind? You just busted your ass and made this meal. And now this guy is going to say he's going to keep working when you just work hard. I was like, oh, girl, no. I said, honey, you are an enabler. You are upset with what's going on in your relationship, but you are part of the problem because you're enabling that behavior. Like, that's super disrespectful of your time to sit there and say, I can't come down for 10 minutes and eat a damn meal with you. Come on, girl. You're enabling this, and that's why you're not happy in your relationship. And so we don't realize that, like, when we make ourselves available for people's bullshit, like, there is something we can do about it. I think that's the heartbeat of my message. I think that's the heartbeat of this boundaries course, is there is something that you can do about it. You don't have to live life feeling threatened, feeling afraid, and just taking it. Hell no, you don't have to just take the disrespect. There are things that you can do. There are words that you can say. There are ways that you can handle a conversation so that you don't have to be disrespected, so that your boundaries do not have to continue being violated. Like, the reality is, the pain that you're living in, I'm here to tell you that there are answers. And that this state of feeling disappointed, feeling shameful, feeling hurt, feeling embarrassed, feeling stupid, inferior, insecure, like all these nasty, horrible emotions that affect our mental health, that take away our peace, that take away how we value and see ourselves. I'm saying there is an answer and you can do something about it. And if that's you, get that boundaries course. Start putting it to work. Start changing your life. Start changing your relationships. Quit being the victim. Get in the driver's seat of your life. Get in the driver's seat of your relationships. You can do this. All right, I got to read the chats because some of you guys are laughing at me. I don't know where I got all this feistiness from, you guys. I think it was from my grandmother, which is why I live in France. She was French, and my grandma was like super feisty, and like nobody messed with her. And I have an aunt named my Aunt Elena, and she's much calmer, but like she was one, like, you don't cross her. And I always looked at those women, I was like, they're badasses. And then I became a badass by watching them. CTC's like, good for you, girl. You stood up for yourself. You commanded the respect. Well, thank you, Jari. He says, dear Arica, you are a precious woman. That's very gracious. Matsy, don't diss Arica. That's right. Matsy says, that's why I cut the toxics out. 3 chances, and that's that. Ninja Wolf says, it's better to have no friends than to have them not respecting you enough. It's pathetic. That's weak. That's true. Oh, thank you, George Brown. Hey, Queen. Thank you. I love being called Queen. It's like my favorite thing to be called. He says, this may be besides the topic, but I just want to say that I appreciate you. That means a lot to me. Thank you. It feels really good to be appreciated. Thank you. Um, okay, let me read who else. Rick says everyone talks shit about everyone behind their backs. Normal behavior, unfortunately. It's true. I think, and when it's I think there's truth to what you're saying. We're not going to like everything about everybody. We're not going to agree with everyone. And I think we don't have to. We're not talking about that. We're not, it's when people, let's bring some clarity. Rick, I agree with you, but what we're talking about here is when people are just flat out being malicious to you and it's a consistent behavior. When they're being malicious behind your back and they're consistently showing up that way. Listen, every single one of us will talk shit about each other and we call it talking shit, and it's not just talking shit, it's just expressing opinions. I don't like the way they look today. I hate that person's outfit. Why did they order that food and not eat it? Like, whatever. We talk about things because we have opinions, and in this day and age it's like everyone's terrified to like express their opinions. No, you have an opinion because you have a brain and you think for yourself. It's called opinions, and just because we express it, you're not going to die. You're not that fragile. So I just mean people who are being malicious to other people when it's a continuous disrespect is what we're talking about here. Um, Yo William, I love when Yo Williams does the emojis. Um, CTC, I like the way this conversation is going. Bruce Wayne. I just watched Batman the other night, by the way. One person teaches people how to treat them. That's so true. Yay, Thomas. I'm glad you're here. Uh, Thank you, Ninja Wolf. Um, George Brown. Erica is about that life. That's so funny. I love that. Ooh, I like that. Um, it's grow Ninja Wolf. I told you guys, Ninja Wolf always has my back. When I say really strong things, my man Ninja Wolf always is gonna like follow up with some notes in the chats. And it's I don't grow in life by running from adversity. CTC, I violate you, you come for me. Doesn't sound so bad. That's quite cheeky and very clever. Good job. Um, Penguin, I'm so glad that you got to pop in, and I'm glad that you're going to watch it later. Um, let's see. Pay attention, lean something. Learn something. Yes. Okay, got it. Thank you, Brandon. Brandon's like, Erica, you're so funny. CTC says, I'm loving this side. Thank you, Jari. He says, sending much love to you. Matt says, AA, she be feisty. That's the truth, though. Jim says, I completely agree with you. 100. Sometimes it's best to walk away and become less available to being neglected and taken for granted. Scarcity is the key. Yeah, it's like, listen, it's think about it as money, right? Like if you're not getting a return, why would you keep investing more? It's the same thing with people. If they're not reciprocating back, if they're not giving back, walk off. Don't keep pouring into that. Walk away. Go give to yourself what you're wanting, but don't keep hanging around with your hands out hoping that they're going to give you what you want. If they're showing you they're not going to give you what you want, walk away. Go give it to yourself. Very simple. Rico says, yeah, it does lead to disappointment. I needed this because I get tired of being run over. I'm so glad. I'm really glad that this is helping you. Yay, Sean. Sean says, hello, Erica. You are so very delightful. Thank you for the encouragement. You're most welcome, dear. Thank you, Thomas. Thomas says, this has been very inspiring. Cayman says, I missed half of the live, but I had to rewatch the video. You've got to rewatch it. This one's really funny because for whatever reason, I felt really inspired to tell lots of stories. Here's the thing. I remember when I was in Bible college, there was this man. Can you believe I went to Bible college, you guys? Didn't last very long, though. Never mind. I won't even go there. Back to boundaries. One of the speakers there would say that more is caught, like you catch a ball, more is caught. I know Ninja Wolf's like Bible college for Arica Angelo. I know. Believe it or not, I know a lot about the Bible, surprisingly. But he would say that more is caught than taught. And so I think like teaching principles is great. But when we tell stories, we're able to catch the heartbeat of the message. We're able to catch the tangible practicality that we can then extrapolate and then go and integrate it, implement it into our lives. Bruce Wayne says, Erica just watched the Batman the other night. Just another reason to love her even more. I know I've been on this like movie kick. I wanted to see Batman the other night with Robert Pattinson because I hadn't seen it. I have to say the guy did pretty good. I didn't like the whole emo twist that they put on him when he was Bruce Wayne. I was like, come on, this isn't Bruce Wayne. Like, I didn't like that part. And then last night I watched one of my all-time favorites. You guys probably won't be surprised by this, but Rocky 4. Oh my gosh. I'm obsessed with Rocky. Love the movies. I watched them as a little girl like a million times. I can quote everything in these movies. But I had to watch Rocky 4 with Ivan Drago. So good. So good. Cayman says, I started to stand up for myself and people get mad because they can't control me. And that is part of the process. And I appreciate you bringing that up, Cayman. It's like, yeah, when you start standing up for yourself, no one's going to like it. When you're with like toxic people or people who have abused you, people who have taken advantage of you, listen, they're not going to like it because why? Basically, when you start standing up for yourself, it holds a mirror to them. It's like, hey, here's your assholery. I love this word. I made this up. It's like my favorite word that I made up. Here's your assholery. And this is what you've been doing. And I'm not going to tolerate it anymore. I'm not going to put up with their bullshit. And most people don't like that confrontation. They don't want to have to deal with the fact that they're being an asshole. It's easier if they just dump their shit on you and then you just keep taking it. But what they don't realize is when you put that stand up and you hold the mirror and say, I'm not tolerating this anymore, and this meaning where you're being an asshole, look at what you're doing. Most people don't see that as actually you're setting them up to win. You're giving them an opportunity to change. But most people who have a weak mind and a weak will and a weak spirit won't see it as that. They'll see it as a threat. Listen, they have a victim mentality. Why hang out with them anyways? You're never going to go anywhere with this kind of person. They're committed to staying miserable. Let them stay miserable while you go and build your best life, while you live your best life. But you don't have to cater to their misery anymore. And so, yeah, there is that process of when you're used to people who are jerks and you start standing up for yourself, they don't like it because they don't want to change. Right? And so the more that you do this, the less you tolerate it. And then you start gravitating towards people who do what? Who respect you, who honor you. And some people will change. Some people in that process, they will go, okay, they obviously have a new framework. They have new rules for the relationship. So I really like this person. I really like spending time with them. I guess I'm going to have to adjust to these new rules. And you're like, hell yeah, you're going to have to adjust to my new rules. Damn straight. Rico says, Rocky made me a boxing fan. I mean, I thought that I was like me and my siblings thought we were boxers. We'd all just like box each other. Any movie I watched, I thought I was the character. I was one of those kids. It was like Karate Kid. I thought I was a Karate Kid. Rocky. I thought I was Rocky. Like, Matsy says, oh, people do not like it. That's why it causes shit at my jobs before it builds in. It builds in. I react eventually. Bruce Wayne, which Rocky for the original or the new director's cut? What are you speaking of? There's a new director's cut? I didn't know about this. Tell me where I can watch this. I want to watch this. Jim says, put on those boxing gloves. You got the eye of the tiger. That's right. And then CTC, he goes, I will break you. Remember? He was like, oh no, what does he say? You will lose. So funny. Guys, this has been so much fun. Make sure that if this really spoke to you seriously, go get that boundaries course. I even put a payment plan on there because I'm so adamant to get this into everyone's hands because I believe that honestly, without boundaries, you can't do relationship. It doesn't work. You create a losing relationship without boundaries. You keep going to toxic relationships without boundaries. So make sure that you go and get that. It will change your life. Guys, we're going to do one more live. You've had me every week, every day for this week. Next week, we'll go back to one lives a week. But since I'm promoting and sharing this boundaries course, I really wanted to hammer home the importance of you guys getting this and taking advantage of it. So I will be back tomorrow. I'll be back. Yes, Captain, please rewatch the stream. And Chase says, my mom's son and ex-wife all want to talk to me right now because I started drawing boundaries and stopped tolerating disrespect. Good for you. And here's the thing, like, those people will eventually, when it's family, it's a different thing. Like, it's the same time tomorrow. So it's tomorrow 4 p.m. Paris time. So it's like that with family as well. Like family, they're used to you showing up a certain way. And when you start growing and you start evolving and you go, hey, that old way of relating to me is not acceptable. They're not going to like it. Yeah, you may go through a period where you guys don't talk as much. That's okay. But the beauty of most families, I'm not going to say all families, but the beauty of family is most of the time, family, they're your ride or dies. For good, bad, or indifferent. They're your ride or dies. They will eventually come around, and yeah, the relationship may have to be different. It may not be the same relationship that you guys are used to, but you'll eventually find your middle ground and you'll find a way to work through it. Oh, thank you so much, Bruce. I'm going to have to go check that out on Amazon Prime. I have Amazon Prime, but since I live in France, I don't have access to anything. I'm going to have to figure out a way around that. All right, guys, I love you so, so, so much. Get that boundaries course and allow it to change your life. You are so loved. You are so valued. You have what it takes. Now go out there and take some action and kick some ass. I love you, and I will see you all tomorrow, same time. Bye.